Breaking news. Dan Campbell is finalizing the final details for Sunday's matchup against the Cowboys, and unfortunately we've encountered some issues to work out. Not all of the news is favorable to the Lions, but I believe we can pull off this win. Before you continue, make sure you've hit the like button if you believe the Detroit Lions will beat the Cowboys in this Sunday's matchup. If possible, write something like this: Go Lions! We will win. Here's the deal. We've had a little time to rest and recover with the bye week, and it looks like a few key players are returning to action. First, Brian Branch and Frank Ragnow are expected to play after sitting out Week 4. Dan Campbell has been praising Ragnow's toughness, and Branch is feeling much better after being sidelined with an illness. It's great news to have these guys back as we prepare for this crucial game. However, not all of the news is positive. Rookie offensive lineman Christian Mahogany is still out and will remain on the non-football illness list due to mononucleosis. Mahogany hasn't been available since training camp, so unfortunately, we won't see him back just yet. But we know he's working hard to get back on the field. Now for some better news on defense. Safety Kerby Joseph had a minor scare with a hamstring issue earlier in the week, but good news, he's been a full participant in practice and isn't listed on the injury report. That's a relief, as we need all hands on deck against Dallas. Speaking of defense, Broderick Martin is still on injured reserve, but Dan Campbell gave us an encouraging update. Martin is progressing well and appears to be on track to return soon. We don't have a specific timetable yet, but it looks positive for the big man. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the Cowboys. They have their own issues, especially on defense. Most notably, their star quarterback Micah Parsons hasn't practiced because of an ankle injury. He missed last week's game against the Steelers, and there's still no official word on whether he'll be ready to face us on Sunday. If he's out, that could be a huge opportunity for our offense. All right, Lions fans, what do you think? Are you excited to have Branch and Ragnow back? And how do you feel about our chances if Micah Parsons can't play for Dallas? After a much-needed week off, the Lions are looking healthier than they have in recent weeks. Typically, teams aren't too excited about an early break, but for us, it came at just the right time. Head coach Dan Campbell even mentioned it this week on 97.1 The Ticket, saying, "We had a few more injuries early in the season than you would expect, but everything happens for a reason. It worked out for us, and it looks like we're going to have Frank back, and BB is in a good place." The big news is that Frank Ragnow and Brian Branch are ready to go for Sunday's game against the Dallas Cowboys. Ragnow, who suffered a partial pectoral tear in Week 3, and Branch, who was dealing with a concussion, are now back and ready to go. That's a big deal for us, especially heading into a tough matchup against Dallas. Now, on to the final injury report for Week 6. Christian Mahogany remains out as he continues to recover from the illness that has kept him out since training camp. He's back in practice and working toward a return to the active roster, so we hope to see him soon. Frank Ragnow and Brian Branch, thankfully, have no injury designations, meaning they're ready to play on Sunday. That's a big win for our offense and defense. As for Kerby Joseph, who showed up on the injury report earlier this week with a hamstring issue, he's also ready to play without a designation for Sunday. Now, let's take a look at the Cowboys' injury report, which has a few notable names on it. Micah Parsons, one of the most dangerous defenders in the league, is officially out on Sunday. That's a big opportunity for us Lions fans. Without Parsons on the field, our offense has a much better chance of controlling the game. Eric Kendricks is also out, which further weakens the Cowboys' defense. There are a few players listed as questionable, including Darren Bland and Kalen Carson, but overall, this report looks pretty favorable to us. Sure, the Cowboys still have guys like Trevon Diggs and Zach Martin, but not having Parsons is a huge relief. Okay, Lions fans, now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Ragnow and Branch returning? And how do you think Micah Parsons' absence will impact Sunday's game? Now, let's talk about the NFC North and what's going on with our division rivals. But more importantly, let's focus on our Lions as we prepare for a big game against the Dallas Cowboys. Coming off a bye week, this is a crucial time for us to keep the momentum going and stay on track to win. The Cowboys are not an easy team to play against, but with DeMarcus Lawrence already out and Micah Parsons likely to miss his second straight week, the door is wide open for our offense to take over. The key to this game is simple: start fast. Our offensive line needs to establish the running game early. When we have success on the ground, we become incredibly difficult to stop in the play-action passing game, and that's where we can really do some damage. Getting an early touchdown would set the tone and put pressure on the Cowboys, especially with their defense missing key pieces. But here's the thing, Lions fans. While our offense can make an impact, the real challenge may come down to how well we handle their offense. Last year, we struggled to contain CeeDee Lamb when we played the Cowboys. And even though we've improved our secondary with Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold, those two have been getting hit with a few pass interference calls. If we can't figure out a way to slow Lamb down, it could be a long day for our defense. I'm really interested to see how we approach this matchup, and if we can keep him under control, that will be a big factor in determining the outcome.
Now let's take a look at the rest of the NFC North. The Vikings are off this week, but next week they're against us, so they'll use this time to regroup and try to fix some of the issues they had against the Jets. They've been dealing with some offensive struggles, especially after Aaron Jones went down with a hip injury, so they'll be hoping to have him back in time for our matchup. As for the Packers, they have the Cardinals this week, and while they've been pretty solid, they're facing a big challenge in Kyler Murray. Keeping him in the pocket will be key for them, and they can't afford to leave points on the field with some of the kicking issues they've had. The Bears, meanwhile, are in London this week facing the Jaguars. Their run defense has been a problem, and they'll have to stop Jacksonville's running backs if they want any chance of forcing Trevor Lawrence into a one-dimensional game. Caleb Williams, their rookie QB, has shown flashes of brilliance, but we'll see if he can keep it up against better competition. But let's get back to our Lions. With the Cowboys missing some key players, this is a golden opportunity for us to take control and come out of Week 6 with a big win. I'm feeling confident about our chances, especially if our offensive line can establish the run and our secondary can handle their wideouts. It's all about starting fast, controlling the tempo, and putting pressure on Dallas early. This game could be the turning point we need to build momentum for the rest of the season. A win here would not only improve our record, but also send a strong message to the rest of the league that the Lions are for real. If we can pressure Dak Prescott and force some turnovers, that could swing the game in our favor. Plus, our offense is clicking, and with the Cowboys' defense missing key pieces, we should be able to exploit some weaknesses. Ford Field has been electric this season, and the home crowd could play a huge role in disrupting Dallas's offense. The fans have brought incredible energy, and I'm expecting them to make a difference once again. Now I want to hear from you, Lions fans. What do you think will be the biggest factor in this game? Can we handle CeeDee Lamb? And how do you feel about our chances against a short-handed Cowboys defense? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this update, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more exclusive Lions content. Let's go, Lions!